Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of the Power of Your Mind podcast. You're listening to episode number 134. I'm Victoria Gallagher, Law of Attraction hypnotist and number one best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction, Align Yourself with the Manifesting Conditions and Successfully Attract Your Desires. Also the founder of HipTalk.com and HypnoCloud apps, which gives you access to over 500 hypnosis recordings right in the palm of your hand. So be sure to download that app from the app stores. And today I have a very special, wonderful guest with me, Petya Kolobova, and she is a transformation coach for women, and she can be found on petyakolobova.com. Also, her podcast, which I was recently on, and that is unapologetically. I knew what I was saying. Unapologetically abundant. And so today, Petya is going to be sharing some of her insights on how to be unapologetically abundant. So welcome to the show, Petya.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we continue this beautiful conversation together. And you did such an amazing job with the pronunciation and everything. And the world itself, unapologetic, it doesn't come like so easily. You see, like I was a guest on a different podcast and they send me their graphics and everything to promote it. And it says apologetically abundant. I was like, no. We're not apologizing for being abundant.
Yes, I think that's so important, especially, these days where I mean, people are, learning how to tap into their abundance. And that's something that the two of us help people to do is to tap into and manifest and attract a wonderful life. And we need to be able to attract that, but also not have to apologize for being abundant. And it'll be really interesting to hear where you go with that. I know, even for myself, this year, this has been an abundant year for me personally, and for you as well. But a lot of people, that are feeling that way, I know I've heard a lot of people are actually thriving during the pandemic, but they feel bad about that, and so. Can you kind of speak to that and tell us, like, where do those feelings come from in the first place? Like, why do we have the need to feel apologetic for being abundant?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful question, and I truly feel that it comes into being unapologetically yourself and really accepting that you are here to be you and nothing else. You didn't come here to please other people. You didn't come here to do the shoots and cuts of your life, because that's what happened in my life. I used to be working so hard, Victoria. I used to have 3 side hustle jobs and I was working 7 days a week. And when you're working really hard, you do make money, but then you have no life. So
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago, I really had to reassess my life, because although my life looked good on the outside, on the inside, it didn't feel fulfilling. I was able to overcome, attempt of suicide, depression, anxiety, mental and physical abuse when I was growing up, and all of the darkness. Yet, even though I could see the light, it felt like I'm living my life for others and I'm not living life and purpose that it's really true to me. And that's why I couldn't make money, but even though faster to spend it, because I didn't feel worthy of having that money. I was thinking I always have to invest in others. Like, oh, I make money, I have to spend it right away in others. And that's not true. So when I say being unapologetically abundant, it's like 2 ways to looking at it, because I realized on my journey, when I became unapologetically me, that's when I became abundant. Because I was able to not only attract and manifest the abundance, but also keep it and live it and, invest it in such a loving way. So you really get to remember that you, by being you, it's how the universe can deliver the goodies that are only for you, especially as women, wearing a mask, taking care of everybody, and like me in human design, my channels, I'm a nurturer. That's who I am. So mistakenly, I always thought like I'm a people pleaser. I need people to love me. But then I realized I love nurturing people. That's who I am. It all comes back to being unapologetically you and what is true to you. And that's when the door of the abundance, not only in money, but rich relationships, rich experiences in your life, and opportunities that you never dream of can come to you because you're being true to yourself.
Yeah. So what was it like that made the lights turn on for you to just say, I am, I am going to nurture people, but I'm not going to make it all about people pleasing. I deserve to be abundant and be unapologetically me. Like, what was it that made those lights turn on for you? Like, how did that come about?
Such a great question, and I feel like everything started early before my 30s when I realized that I'm really tired of the darkness and pretending that everything is okay when it's not. So many women are still suffering quietly. They just suck it up and they keep themselves so busy all day, all night. They coming to the bed and they're feeling empty. And in the morning, it's the same old every single day. So a decade ago, I realized and recognized that something has to change and that something has to be me. And so that's when I started to work on myself, hiring mentors, embracing spiritual personal development journey that it's not easy and fun as people can imagine, right? It's the ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And then 3 years ago, even though my life got better, I realized that I'm still like afraid to be me because they were creeping up the limiting beliefs. Am I good enough? Do I know enough? Am I smart enough? Can I really do that? Because we look at other people living the life, right? And we're like, can I be in a loving relationship? Can I have the house? Can I have a like career when I am abundantly paid to be me? So 3 years ago, I hired a mentor that I work with, and he made me do an exercise about core values. And oh my goodness, everything changed because I realized I wasn't living true to my core values and what I believe in. So when I align with my core values, I let go of my 5 year relationship. I let go of my social media marketing business. I let go of all of my clients. It was scary. But what was back then even more scary for me, it's working so hard for others and not
Mm-hmm.
feeling fulfilled and really true to myself. That was even more scary back then.
Yes, definitely. So you said that you worked with a mentor and they took you through an exercise to help you to get in touch with your core values. Can you give us a little bit of insight into like what was involved in that exercise and maybe how
Absolutely.
somebody could find that out for themselves?
Please do it. Please do it. If you have any questions, always message me. This exercise, it's so easy to do, yet easy to do. It's also easy not to do. So what I would invite you to do, you can, once you listen to this, you can just pause this recording, take a piece of paper, big piece of paper, and divide it in two. And then on one side, you will write down the things that you don't stand for. I personally don't like the word hate, but those would be the things that you really can stand. So that
Mm-hmm.
would be on the left side. On the right side, you would write down the opposite. So those are the things you stand for. And you will go back and forth with these things, and you will have written 20 things on each side. So once you're done with this exercise, you will have 20 on each, and I want you to take like colorful pen or highlighter, something with different colors, so we awaken the brain and show it that something different is going on. And I want you to circle the three things that you do stand for. So for example, when I did my exercise, I went back and forth with, I don't stand for hate, I stand for love. I don't stand for being cheap, I stand for generosity. I don't stand for cheating, I stand for loyalty. And that way, when I highlight my non-negotiables, like I cannot be without it, I realize it's integrity, loyalty, growth, and generosity. Like, of course, I was an overachiever, Rector, so I did 30 and picked more, right? No shame in the game. But for you, the three are amazing. And it's not only about do this exercise, But then the most important thing is what's coming next. Then when you look at your core values, you need to look at your life. Take an inventory of your life. Does it match us? Does it align? And maybe you're not going to be as extreme as me and break up the relationship and leave the job, you don't have to. But that knowingness of this is not aligned, what can I do instead? Can I renegotiate my relationship? Can I change something? What can I do differently? And maybe it's not leaving the job or the business right away, but you can ask yourself, okay, what would be more aligned? And start daydreaming and start planning that, like plant the seeds. And I want you to take this, like these three words that are your non-negotiables. Victoria, I put it everywhere, in my bathroom, in my bedroom, in my office, in my wallet, on a, like a business card. I wrote it there because you get to reprogram your mind. And I know you're all about reprogramming the mind into like the top performance. And this is it. Up until now, you were not living in a truth for yourself. And if you did, please keep going. But 9 out of 10 people that I ask, they're not.
Right. And what is it that makes them, and this is a great exercise, so I really highly encourage. I love what you talked about here. So, writing down the 20 things that you don't stand for, and then what you stand for instead of that, and then circling, highlighting three, and then seeing how do you match up in your life. And so, what do you think it is, though, that causes people to be so out of alignment with their core values, and how can we get more in alignment with them?
Oh my gosh, I love this question so much, and I wish that they would be asking this and teaching this in the schools, right? Imagine that if we would be taught in the school. So what we are being taught in the school, it's just like, shut up and listen, go and do this and go and do that. Like when I look at our life, I see different stages of growth. Like when you're a little kid, you're going through the stage of, I have to wake up at certain time. I have to go to the school. I have to eat this food. Like, you're not being asked like, hey honey, do you want a broccoli or do you want a chicken? No, eat your broccoli, right? So
Hmm.
you're not being asked, you have to. Then you go into the stage of, I should, right? I should probably go to the college. I should probably get married. I should probably get some job, right? We are in a stage of shoulds. When we start working on ourselves, we start doing the inner work, we start being self-aware, we get into the stage of, oh, I could.
Hmm.
I could build a business. I could be helping people, or I could stay in a bed all day. I could, right? But this stage is also dangerous. It sounds really good, right? You're like, oh, I have options. But the stage I could sometimes keep you comfortable. Because, for example, I built my social media business. That was my first business. I had an agency. I was good. I was good in relationship. I was good in social media. I was good in building these things. And I stayed there much longer than I believe that was necessary, just because I'm like, well, I'm good in that. So I can do that. Why wouldn't I? Right? But it
Right.
wasn't fulfilling. So instead of I could, you get to ask yourself, what could I? What could I do? What could I do if I wouldn't be limiting myself? What could I do if I knew I cannot fail? What would I love to do? Like if money and time are no issues, I know you heard that question a million times before. What do you really do about it? What do you really do about it? It's one thing to know, but then what do you do about it? So, Victoria, I truly believe that it's how we were raised into I have to, I should, and listening to everybody else. Because just think about it, when we were Neanderthals, when we were living in a caves, when we were like hunting for tigers or tigers were hunting us, the challenge is that when you're different from your tribe, you will be casted out because you're too slow or you're not smart enough or you don't know how to like start a fire. You will be casted and you will be eaten by the tigers. We're still trying to fit. We're still trying to belong. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to belong and being in a tribe, but you cannot sacrifice who you really are for the tribe, because then it's not your tribe, because you're not being true to yourself. When
That's so
you
true.
are, oh my gosh, everything changes and doors open.
Absolutely. Wow, this is really good stuff. Really good stuff. So, I can hear people out there, with if you could do anything, if you had all the time, if you had all the money, what would you be doing? But people still have that inner voice that says, yeah, I still like I couldn't ever do it. It's
Mm.
just never going to happen,
Mm.
for me.
Yeah.
So, what is it that's getting in their way? How can they let go of these beliefs that they have, these limits?
Couple of the things that are coming up for me because I absolutely love it. First of all, everything that you're hearing in your mind, it's a limiting beliefs. Those are here just to keep you safe. And beliefs are really just the thoughts that we keep thinking again and again and again. So you get to choose a new thoughts. And it's so fascinating you're asking because I even created a masterclass on how to really remove, like break through your BS beliefs.
Oh, I
Because
love
the
that.
thing is
Your
that
BS beliefs.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Because they're really not truth. If they're limiting you, if it's not serving you, if it's not making you feel better and bigger and expansive, then it's just really keeping you small and safe. And do you really needs to be safe? Like, yeah, let's keep it safe. Let's not walk into the park during the night or go to strange places or drive with strangers. That's like common sense, right? But these limiting beliefs are really trying to keep you safe and in a place. So the first step really is to reveal them, really recognize them. The first step is reveal those limiting beliefs and really ask yourself, what is really weighing me down? What is the
Mm-hmm.
thing that weighs on me the most? Is it thinking I'm inadequate or I'm not smart enough or what would people think or what if I fail? What is that comes up for you really? And then when you look at them, when you really recognize them, you got to remove them. It's like
Mm-hmm.
removing the weed. You don't just cut it on the top, you got to remove it. So you get to remove those limiting beliefs and really asking yourself, is this really true? Is this 100% unshakable, like I would die for it true? It's not, right? Most of the
Right.
times it's really not. It's like when you ask yourself, like, I'm not smart enough. Huh? Is this really, really true? You're still here. You're listening to the podcast. Even listening to Victoria's podcast, I bet you are smart enough. So really ask yourself these facts. Is that really, really, really true?
Mm-hmm.
So once you recognize and once you really like reveal these limiting beliefs, once you remove them, because now you know this is not true, you also get to remember nothing in the universe can exist in the vacuum. So it's not only like, oh, let's remove the weeds and my whole garden, it's empty. Now you get to replace it. What do I choose now to believe instead? What is my new belief? So the steps are really reveal, remove, and then replace.
Ooh.
Those three steps. That's what I'm teaching actually next Monday. I don't know when this is going to be launched, but I am hosting a masterclass next Monday because this is it. It's just Victoria, it drives me crazy. I see so many powerful women. They have a voice, they have a desire, they have a mission, and they're afraid to show up. What if I mess up? What if people judge me? What if I fail? What if I cannot support myself and my family? All these limiting beliefs. And is this really example you want to give to your loved ones and your kids? Is this how you want to like leave your legacy?
No, no way.
You see, if Victoria, if for some reason you're not here tomorrow, you will die peacefully, and God, like, I want you to hear forever, right? But if something ever happens to you and you're not here tomorrow, you know you left your legacy. I know the same. I transform. That's why I'm transformational coach. I transform so many women's lives that if I'm not here tomorrow, I'm good. I'm good. Everything else that can come into my life, it's cherry on the top. Bigger house, bigger car, couple of the kids that we're planning with the love of my life. Those are such a beautiful things, but I'm good. You get to
Yeah.
ask yourself, am I? And I want to also circle back. You gave such an amazing question about like, not only what do we do about those limiting beliefs, but like when you tell people, what would you do if money and time are no issue? And they're like, first they're taught it's automatically, but they are, right?
Yes,
But they are,
exactly. That
right?
so that they're automatically going to just kind of shut that question
Mhm.
down or not even really be able to go beyond. They're automatically rejecting the idea that they really could have it. Or they just, I see a lot of people that they've just turned off their desire for anything. It's like it's just you live and you die and everything in between is just a
Yeah,
struggle, and I'm just struggling just to get through it.
yeah,
And it's so hard sometimes to reach those people because the limiting beliefs are like they don't even really have the concept of the limiting belief because the whole life is a limit.
yeah. And that can really seem like that, Victoria. I remember when I was going through my depression, I didn't want to be here. I thought I'm just a waste of time and I shouldn't even be here because I was an accident when I was born to my mom unplannedly. So that's something that I believe that was my limiting belief, that I shouldn't be here. I'm unlovable and I don't matter.
Aren't we all kind of accidents? It's
Right?
ultimately.
So I feel that each of us has some limiting beliefs, but what I really want to bring home, this is very important. I want everybody to hear this. I want you to really sit down and journal about it. What would it look like when time and money it's no issue? And the very next important step, it's asking yourself, what is the essence of it? What is the essence of it and what can I do right now? Because for example, if money and time it's no issue, I am laying in a tropical destination sipping on a fresh coconut and I'm reading all day books, and then I do like maybe a couple calls a week, or I'm hosting retreat, but I wouldn't be doing anything else, like no social media, no electronics, no technology, no nothing. I want to be in the nature all day long and just be, playing around. So when I ask myself, what is the essence of it? So essence of it, it's tranquility, it's peace, it's nature, it's freedom, it's learning and growing. That's why I love books. So I might not be able to right now pack everything. I could, but let's not do it right away. Like pack everything, just pack my bikini and go on the beach and like screw it all. I'll just figure it out, right? But I can really create the essence of my desires right now. And I did it. I take Saturdays off. There is no technology. I make sure that every day there is a time for play with my doggy or my lover. It's just like there's always a space for it. Every single day I'm reading a books. Every single day I make sure that I ask myself what would bring me joy, what would make me feel good. So even though I'm not laying in a hammock on a tropical location and tanning and sipping on a coconut water, the essence of it, I'm living it now. And because I'm living it now and I'm feeling it, that's how I'm attracting the hammock life.
I love it. Yes, yes. That so well. I so get you. I so understand what you're talking about. We want to be the vibration. We want to live in the vibration of our heart's desire. So whatever your heart's desire is, if it's laying in a hammock, bring that essence into wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now, and be that essence, live that essence, vibrate that essence, feel that. And so I love that. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like I said, this is something that you can do no matter what. A little bit of daydreaming, it's not going to kill anyone, but a little bit of worrying every single day will. Because worrying, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I remember one time I read a quote that says, worry, it's like a rocking chair. It will keep you busy, but won't take you nowhere. And it's so accurate. You can be just going through the life and going through the motions, or you can choose again, and it's never late. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 60. I have clients on both spectrums, and they can all turn their life around into fulfilling and abundant one.
Yes. And there's another way that I think about worry that I've heard before, and that is worrying is praying for what you don't want. It's
Hmm.
essentially praying for what you don't want.
Yes, I heard that too, and I'm like, okay, let's change the prayer.
Yeah. Exactly. It's so easy to, to get yourself into that state. It, you know, and why is that? Why is it so much easier sometimes to gravitate toward the negative, toward, you know, worrying about the things that you don't want to come to pass? Why do you, you know, why do you say that is?
I love this question so much. And when you think about it, it's logic because our brain is wired for the worry to keep us safe. Your brain, you didn't got it to be enlightened and feeling on top of a world and ecstatic. Your brain was created thousands and thousands of years ago to keep you safe, to keep you like looking for dangers. So automatically, even though no tiger it's like chasing us, we're still looking for what's wrong. We're still looking for the dangers when something is too good to be true, right? My grandma, I love her to life. She's my best friend. She's my angel. And she says, she used to always say, I kind of like retrain her too, but she used to say, don't be too excited. It won't go well.
Mm.
Like you're excited to go on a trip and it will rain. Don't be excited about the relationship. He will cheat on you. You're too good. You're too nurturing. Well, I always remind my clients and myself, you're perfectly made for your purpose. You're
Yeah.
perfectly made for your perfect people. You're not too much or too little. So don't be really hard on yourself and don't beat yourself up because you have a negative thought. The first thought, it's always automatic. That's your brain, that's your survivor, that's your inner critic. They're just trying to keep you safe. So you survive and you say, thank you. Thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much for keeping me safe. Because the little kids when they go to like a grocery store and you're not paying attention to them and they're like, Mom, I want a chocolate, I want a chocolate. They will keep screaming louder and louder until you get it to them or spank them or whatever. I don't know if it's even like allowed here in the United States, spank your own kid, right? But they will be louder and louder and louder. The same goes with your brain. The same goes with your negative thoughts or your inner critic. You're not listening. You're not paying attention. What do you think will happen? They will scream at you louder and louder and louder. But when you hear them, when you see them and say like, hey, thank you so much for protecting me. Thank you so much for telling me this. And I'm choosing something else.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
choose again. So first thought, it's automatic. First thought, it's survivor. First thought can be negative. Faster and faster, you will learn to choose again. And it's so beautiful because this will reflect in all of your relationships with yourself, with your coworkers, in your life, with your kids. Because yes, the first thought will come. And you, instead of being feeling guilty or ashamed, like, oh, I shouldn't be yelling at my kids, I'm such a bad mom. No, you're not. Your brain is trying to protect you and keep you safe and not keep you around your screaming loud kids, right? It wants you to like, kids, shut up and let me like journal, let me meditate. So don't be hard on yourself. You might not be able to control the first thought. You can always choose again the second one.
I love that so much. I love that you're bringing that up because that also brings up something that a lot of people get confused about, like when it comes to manifesting or law of attraction. And a lot of people really they get this idea, oh my God, you know, what if I have a negative thought? Oh, I'm going to be attracting this negative thing to my life, or I can never ever feel sad. I can never ever feel angry. I can never ever feel any of these things because I'm going to be vibrating in a negative place. And they get worried about worrying and they get worried about feeling fear. But I think the same thing holds true that what you resist persists. So whether it's a negative thought, a negative feeling, a negative anything, the first step is really to acknowledge that, to be with it, to allow it, to say, hey, you know, I mean, you're a human being and you're going to have these negative thoughts, you're going to have these negative feelings. And, you know, I think the key is, wouldn't you say, you know, I mean, is to acknowledge it, not to dwell in it, but the quicker you be with it and acknowledge it, the quicker you're going to move through that and then into the better thoughts. And the thoughts that you're choosing are going to bring you into a better vibration.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like I've been there when I was worried, like, oh my God, I had this negative thought. Now my life will suck, now I will be attracting it. But it's really about honoring your feelings. This is how am I feeling? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling it. But when you acknowledge those feelings, they can really flow through you instead of you like putting them under the carpet. How much do you think you can put under it until you can see it, or until it will bulge up, and until it will like really be noticeable? Don't bury anything. Your feelings, feel your feelings and choose again. That's more empowering than trying to pretend like nothing ever happened.
Feel your feelings and choose again. That's a great mantra. That's a great thing to remember. Feel your feelings and choose again. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to circle back. There was a little empty spot in my question here earlier when we talked about the reveal, the remove, and the replace with your limiting belief formula. So, and I understood, exactly how the formula worked. I want to go back to reveal, and I want to ask, how do you get the limiting belief to reveal itself? How does a person understand? Okay, I get it. I get that I'm blocked about living the life of my dream, about having the money, having the time, and but what is my belief about that? How do I reveal that to myself? How does
Mhm.
a person, what do they go through? Is there a process that they go through to reveal that to themselves? How do they get that information?
Absolutely. And it's such a great question. And thank you for going deeper on this. I have a masterclass that I'm doing for like over an hour. So like put it all in a little pieces in a way that people can really do something about it right away. It's
Yeah.
really important, and also not very like, like how can I share it all? But the reveal part, it's really about setting a time aside with yourself and looking at different areas of your life, like different areas. What I mean, it's your health, your finances, your relationships, your goals, your contributions. So really write a different areas of your life, and then see where in each area you are not fulfilled. It doesn't have to be in all, but some you will have like, oh, let's talk about money. And many people are like, oh, like they're like, oh, coming, why is that? What is coming up for you? So it's really coming into these beliefs about different areas of your life from a place of curiosity, like a childlike
Mhm.
curiosity, instead of like judging yourself, like, oh, I'm feeling so ashamed because I got into the depth, right? And that's it. I don't want to talk about it. So it's really about being curious about it. What is it that is coming up for me? What is it? How is it making me feel? Again, going back into feeling your feelings and journal about it. So what is coming up with each area of your life? And like I said, maybe it's not all of them, maybe it's only some, but then you're going really deeper. What it's coming up for me, and why? And I love going deep in everything. So I usually do at least 5 levels of why. Like, why is this weighing on me? Why do I think it's a bad thing? Why do I feel that this is stopping me? Why doesn't this feel good? And you really go deeper. So looking at different areas of your life would be first, and then in what area of your life you're really not fulfilled yet, and then laser down on that area and go really deeper at like many different levels, so you can really come up. Because what happens, and that's what I'm teaching, it's like the first thing that comes up for you, it's a superficial level. It's not the core. It's not the core limiting beliefs. You're like, oh,
True.
I'm not good enough. Okay, I will say I am, and that's it. I wish it would be that easy. You really get to go into the core. I'm not good enough. Why? Well, because I didn't finish my university. Why? Because I was feeling pressure to make money. Why? Because I wanted to take care of my parents. Why? Like really going this level why. And then you will see it's really not about not being good enough. It's really about being the older one in your family and feeling that you need to prove yourself to your parents because your younger siblings never had to do anything. You say
Yes.
good enough. How do you know? That's just a superficial level.
I love it. This is so, so valuable. And I can definitely understand the value that a person would get out of taking a mastermind training from you because You just hit the nail right on the head for me. And for people to be able to discover the core, deeper reason, the root cause of why they feel like they're not good enough, why they feel like, whatever it is, that's blocking them. They really do need to, to find that root reason so that they can address that. And so thank you so much, so they can get that revealed to themselves, so they can remove it and they can replace it with something that is going to cause them to move more, into who they were destined to be, who they were destined to be. So you talk about being kind of just a crazy segue here into the opposite. So now we've let's just say we've removed these limiting beliefs, we've replaced them, and so a person who is able to replace their beliefs, I mean, literally they can be abundant beyond their wildest dreams. So let's just talk a little bit about how a person might, if a lot of my listeners dream of having their own business or are entrepreneurs, but maybe they're not at the level that they want. So, what can a person do to be abundantly paid, to be themselves? Because so many people, I think a lot of people, they think about abundance, but they feel like they've got to sell themselves out, or they've got to do things that don't resonate with them, or that aren't lined up with their core values. So how can a person just be able to get paid to be themselves?
Such an amazing question. And Victoria, if you would have told me even just like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that I can be abundantly paid to be me, I'm like, why would somebody pay to like hang out with me? Like, why would somebody pay me to listen to me, right? Like, who am I to tell people the major imposter syndrome, which so many people are dealing with? So, it goes back into the mantra that I've created that I mentioned at the beginning of our recording. You're perfectly made for your purpose. The way you
Mm.
are, the way you think, the way you look, the way you express yourself, the way you navigated life up until now, it's all perfectly made for who you're meant to be here. So, I used to like desire to be like by everybody. I'm like, oh, this is trendy, let me do this. Now this is trendy, let me do that. And I would be like a little bird and going here and going there. And it was just about like, I wanted to belong and be seen. And then I was working with my online mentor, and she taught me that you are either heck yes or heck no for people. Like, you're not supposed to be attractive to everybody. You don't want to be dating the whole world, like 8 billion people. You don't want to be working with 8 billion people, right? Like, oh my gosh, I cannot even imagine. But you are so perfect for your people, and it's so much easier, you know to be yourself than wearing the masks, because they get so heavy. Oh, I should be this, I should do that, and all these shoulds. But when you become unapologetically you, steadily you are becoming a magnet for your people, because they hear you, you speak their language, you show up at the perfect time, at the perfect places. And Victoria, like I mentioned, I had 3 side hustles. I was working 7 days a week. I'm making now almost 10 times more working 3 days a week.
That's great. That is awesome.
And it's
That is
because I'm being
awesome.
myself, and I'm not for everybody, and I'm not intending to. And it's like, if I'm not your person, I bless you, but keep going. We all need guidance and help. But once you realize that this is me, this is my gift, this is what I want to be sharing. And again, being unapologetic about it. I love working with women. I love nurturing them. I have a client who is like, I think she's 58 now, and she's like, you're like the mother I never had. And she's double my
Hmm.
age. So the thing is that she sees in me the nurturer. And I was
Hmm.
always thinking like, well, but this is like, like being people pleasing if I'm trying to nurture everybody. No, no, no. That's my gift. That comes to me easily. My mentor in human design, she told me, that's your design. These are your channels, your nurture. Your purpose is to nurture people into their purpose. I fight for people's purpose. I don't want to be sitting in the corner. My favorite movie is Dirty Dancing. And there is the part when baby's sitting in a corner
Yeah.
and Johnny walks in and it's like, baby's not going to be sitting in a corner. That's me. That's me talking to my clients. You're not going to be sitting in a corner. I can't even look at it. You can. Let me guide you. Let me get you up. So to be abundantly paid to be you, you really get to recognize what are your natural gifts, what comes to you easily, what people come to you for, and also what is a joy and fun for you. I love working with women. It's fun, it's joy, it fulfills me, and I can do it from the hammock.
I love that. I love that. And I think everybody deserves to be in their hammock, so to speak. Whatever that hammock is for you, everyone can be in that space of abundantly being themselves and getting paid to be themselves, to do what they love. I absolutely 100% believe that. I mean, I've been,
You're
doing
living
that for
it.
22 years and helping others just like you. So, so what is something, that you want to share, like maybe just as a sort of final, just a final tip or a final strategy or just a recommendation that you might have for somebody who's listening here and their interest is piqued and they feel like, what next? Like, I get it. I get that I maybe have some limiting beliefs that I need to bust through. I get that, yeah, this is me. This is speaking to me, and I want to step into being, more abundant and, attract the life of my dreams, attract love, attract money, whatever it is. Like, so what's the call to action here for a person that, is interested in doing
Yeah.
that?
It's a great question. And everything start with know thyself. You really get to go back and really listen the part when we talk about core values. That's where everything starts. You
Mhm.
being aligned with you and you being true to yourself. And then when you do that exercise, asking yourself, what lights me up? What makes me feel alive? Because what this world really needs, and this is not some cliche, we really want people who are lit up. That's who we are attracted to. I'm hiring my mentor because she's living a life I want to be ultimately living. So when you are lit up, and it doesn't matter if you're a mom at home, if you're working in a grocery store, or if you're a coach, or if you're a healer, who cares? When you're doing things that really light you up, the world is going to be lit up by you. So those two things, that's what I would love and recommend for everyone. I invite you to recognize your core values, and then when you have those, put them somewhere visible and ask yourself, what lights me up? What makes me feel alive? And do that every single day. Even if it's just like taking a walk, taking a shower, you will feel so much better. And remember, when you feel better, you attract better.
Oh my goodness, that's so true. Absolutely so true. And and sometimes it can be a challenge to figure out how to get yourself to that feel good state, but it comes back to just allowing that to exist for a moment and and choose a better thought and a better feeling. Now, you're also offering a free gift of manifesting money effortlessly. Can you tell our audience about that and how they can get it?
Absolutely. So I know you will be sharing the link with them to get that. And it's a part of my course, paid course, but this part, it's the most juiciest part. This is
Ooh.
a part where I will teach you how to date your money, how to have a relationship with money. Because, when I ask my clients, the way you're treating money, would you like to be treated? They're like, no. I'm like, why would you treat someone the way you don't want to be treated? So,
Ooh, that is so perfect. That is
right?
so perfect. I love that analogy. Yes.
So I really teach you step by step in a fun way. Like, forget the freaking spreadsheets. I don't like it, like, forget the spreadsheets. Let's have fun. Let's go on a date. Let's put some nice clothes, put some candles on, some music on. And I teach you what really helped me and some of my clients 10 times my income. In a year from the moment that I started to do these money dates that I'm gifting you, I really learned on how to manage money, have fun with the money. I retired my mom and I am living the life that I couldn't even dream of. And this is just the beginning. So I wanted to have that, like, really fun, fulfilling relationship with money.
Oh, wow. Wow. I love that. This sounds so fun. So, you're going to teach people how to ultimately have a better relationship with their money by dating their money and
Yes.
treating their money the way that they would want to be treated. I love it. I love it. So, I highly encourage you guys to click the link in the show notes, which is going to be bit.ly/ manifest money freebie, but that'll be in the show notes. So you can just go ahead and click that link and get your manifesting money effortlessly freebie. So, thank you so much for this wonderful information. Such value. I really, really loved and enjoyed our conversation today. And I think that the world definitely needs to hear this message. So, thank you so much for being on the Power of Your Mind podcast, teaching people about how to get in touch with their core values, how to let go of limiting beliefs, how to live life abundantly, unapologetically abundantly, and and how to have a better relationship with time, money, themselves. This is all gold, great nuggets, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I super, super appreciate you. And not only the time that we had together today, but what you're doing in the world every single day in every single way, because it's so needed. And I truly, truly wish for everyone to be manifesting effortlessly and building the life on their own terms. And you are doing it and teaching it and embodying it every day, Victoria. So thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to the Power of Your Mind podcast today. We'll see you next week.